You and I in the garden of flowers. Alright, welcome back to the second of these wonderful discs that I'm reviewing on this thing, okay? Just some housekeeping, just about the last three videos, I put them all out at once, and what I found surprising was that the first and second videos, the first one which was an update and the second which really discussed the first three discs, haven't done too well. They're only up around 30 views, but what the first one where I review these outtakes disc has just really taken off, and I'm just blown away, and I'm so thankful. You know, and I clicked it through, and of course, you know, I got the usual, you know, people who just clicked in and then clicked out again, but, you know, I mean, that's pretty much the same with every YouTube channel, but the comments have shown that just about everybody who I really value in the Prince community has basically watched that video and responded to it, and one overriding theme I get from it is that a lot of people are put off just by the sheer amount of music on this thing, because, you know, I mean, normally when we review a Prince project, you're reviewing one or two albums at the most, and like even with 1999 Super Deluxe, all you really had was the concert and the two discs of outtakes. But this thing, I mean, this behemoth, you know, I mean, it's just another kettle of fish. I mean, it's not really a digestible size thing. You can't just sit down and listen to it in its entirety. So I think it's intimidated some people, and maybe it's even the material too. I mean, the fact that it's so good, it's probably just too good in a lot of ways, and I think the fact that it's just too good is probably just putting some people off, I guess. You know, I mean, because there's just so much great music on this album, I guess it's a wee bit intimidating, you know. It's like, you know, I guess it's like just opening up a box and there's just too many gems staring back at you, rather than just one or two you can just go in amongst the agates and, you know, river rocks and pull out the diamonds. Here it's just diamond after diamond after diamond. And now let's get into disc 2. Now, of the three discs, I have to say, I really like disc 1. And I mean, I'm going to presage myself here and say that disc 3, realistically, I mean, there are some really good songs on disc 3, or disc 6 if you're counting from discs 1 to 8. But it's not as tight as the other two discs. And I think of the two discs, disc 1 and 2, I think this disc I'm about to review now is by far the tightest of the whole album. There's just so many good songs on this part. I mean, this is probably, without hesitation, probably the best side of music Prince ever put out. I mean, if Prince had just put this whole disc out as a separate album, I mean, even the instrumentals, there's no filler, there's no slack on this album. And I think I gave disc 1 a 9 out of 10. I mean, this is 10 out of 10, maybe even 11 out of 10. This is brilliant. So, no more ado, let's just review the brilliance of these songs, because first of all, you wonder so many great songs come out of one person's head. Again, we still got the big brassy live music numbers, but we are starting to get some different sounding numbers, and I think that's the thing, is that the music is quite diverse. And again, I think it's what a lot of critics said about Sign of the Times itself, was that Prince is just one of these men who can just take like all these different styles of music and just play them note for note perfectly, but at the same time he can just make his own unique sound out of every type of music, and he does it with this album. I mean, these songs, I mean, let's just start the ball rolling with the order the songs appear on the disc. Now, first of all, on comes Train, and I mean, Train's a well-known song. It's appeared on bootlegs and things, and it's easily, again, just one of the very finest songs Prince ever wrote. Again, it's about a broken heart going, if you don't really love me anymore, there's a train that's leaving in the morning, and it's going you late to Santa Fe. I just can't go on. Again, he's pleading his love. He's saying he loves her so much, but if she really wants to leave, there's a train, off you go, basically. Again, wonderful, beautiful singing, great falsetto, you know, perfect melody, you know, great horns, you know, good chugging guitar line, you know. I just can't wait. But again, I mean, even though there's all this really sound music going on in the background, I mean, the main thing I'm listening to when I listen to Train is Prince's voice, and again, it's a very well-written song. It's the message in the song. I mean, this is obviously, you can just tell by the mood and theme of the song, it's obviously about Susanna. I mean, all these songs were written when Susanna and Prince's relationship was just getting rockier and rockier. I mean, you think of songs like, you know, Witness for the Prosecution, Big Tall Wall, and Train carries it on. I mean, Train is, wow, what a way to start an album. It's just a stunning song, you know what I mean. And then we move into the first musical, and that's It Ain't Over Till the Fat Lady Sings. And I actually really like this. It starts off with a big lot of horn lines, you know, by Eric and Atlanta. You know, it goes, lots of keys. I suspect that Claire Fisher's probably put his strings over it. And I mean, it doesn't last that long, it's only about 2.5 minutes. I mean, some really good, you know, sort of saxophone toots along the way, and it's actually a really good mood musical. I mean, normally I don't go in for the instrumental tracks, but this is really good. I mean, I think it's definitely got a much more of a sort of a Madhouse sound to it. Of course, all those in the know, I mean, Madhouse is just really another pseudonym for Prince. Okay, it was Prince, Eric, Atlanta, Sheila E, and I think Levi was also adding bass licks. But essentially, this is great. This is actually, even though it's probably the weakest track on the whole disc, this is actually pretty good stuff, you know. And then we move along to, oh, because it's writing, it's so dark, okay. Eggplant. And Eggplant, I mean, again, I think a lot of these middle songs, as great as they are, I mean, I'm trying so hard to listen to the lyrics in them, but I think this one's about a guy who's a wee bit awkward, who feels a bit like an eggplant, you know, loving this strange girl. I don't think it's about Susan, I think it's about him just getting a lust for someone else. But what I really love about it is sort of like this sort of squeaky voice. It's like, it's like, it's hard to actually Mills brotherize it. Basically. I know I do lots of instrumental sounds, but it's hard to describe this beat. It's sort of like a squeaky sort of farfisa beat. And again, very solid drumming track running for it. I suspect it's probably Sheila E on the drums, you know. And again, mostly sung in falsetto. There's a bit of baritone. They're going, I just cannot believe. And again, horns. I mean, this whole disc and really the whole album is just dripping in horn lines. It's just incredible. It's like just pouring layers and layers of vocal cream, keyboard cream, and then horn cream all over the record. Basically, I just can't get enough of it. Basically, it's a good song. Then we move into another real catchy song. I mean, the melody and the hook just do, and that's everybody want what they don't got. Everybody best so we can get. If you've got a little, Lord, if you've got a lot, everybody want what they don't got. And it goes, sweet Sarah, succotash. Great Prince nonsense lyrics. I love Prince nonsense lyric songs. I mean, very, very funky. And I think a lot of these sort of songs from this middle period where you're crossing over from Dream Factory to Crystal Ball, there's definitely a whole sort of pre-Love Sexy vibe coming through in these songs. And I mean, this song wouldn't sound out of place on Love Sexy or even Parade. I mean, it's a really catchy, sugary, poppy song. I mean, Jay's talking about, you know, feel-good songs. I mean, I would definitely put this on the feel-good song list, you know. I mean, I'll probably take off Push and put this on this place. I'm sorry, Ben, but Push, come on, you know. Yeah, but Everybody Want What They Don't Got. I mean, wow, what a song, you know. Princess Falsetto Soars. You got the great horn lines. Again, you got that sort of same almost squeaky organ sound coming through from Eggplant. Yep, and then we've got Prince changes the mood for the next song, Blanche, which is sort of like a blues number, but unlike all the blues he played in the early 90s, like Purple House and Calhoun Square, this is great. Blanche is basically another one of these hard-to-get women, you know, she's a bitch, she's icy, you know, she's not giving Prince the time of day. Blanche, I got to dance. Ow. And then Prince does a lot of sexy owls and come-ons. There's an absolutely amazing chugga-chug, you know, sort of blues guitar lick going all the way through it. And I suspect there's a massive bass line behind it and a great drum hi-hat. I know I shouldn't be talking musicology, but just the music in this thing. I mean, this is a really good pop blues in a lot of ways. I mean, it's definitely the type of song Miles Davis would go, wow, Prince is really listening to me, man. He's really digging my sound. But Blanche, I actually do like it. You know, like, you're so fire. Ow. Again, just that jangly chicken scratch bass. And those, you know, really sexy guitar licks, you know. I mean, I'm even wondering, maybe was Levi Caesar playing on this? You know, I know he was playing bass at the time, but this sounds like a Levi type guitar lick coming through here, definitely. And then we move into probably one of the very finest songs on set. I know I've said this about a lot of songs, but it's actually nearly 13 minutes long. And it's actually, I mean, Prince alludes to the song in Joy and Repetition, Soul Psychodelicide, you know. And it's actually just, it starts off with a really sort of like, it mentions in the stories about how in the early days when, you know how like here on It's Going to Be a Beautiful Night, hear Prince scream confusion and all the people in the band like playing all their instruments. So it's definitely recorded with the Sign of the Times era band rather than the Revolution. And at the part, Prince screams in a frenzied voice, go, I scream! And you hear this like these guitars, drums and horns all just going crazy, like it's almost like an ice cream of sounds. And then it goes, and then like you hear this drum line, this drum beat just is violating speed. It's going, and then it goes, and then you hear the ice cream again after a minute, and then like 4 minutes of just some of the most solid funk you've ever heard in your life. It's just being played. I mean, the ice cream's being mixed up. You imagine the horn players, imagine Levi, Miko, Prince, Sheila, and everyone is just on stage, just pummeling the living shit out of their instruments, basically. And then in the middle, out come the black men. I think it's probably Miko and Jerome and Wally and Greg, and they come out going, Soul Psychodelicide, Soul. And then you hear the female voice, it's probably Prince, and the girls go, Soul Psychodelicide, so it's a hell of a ride, so to Psychodelicide. And it's just, wow. I mean, they don't say much more in the song beside that, but it's just incredible. Okay, it's not a year long, and the band hasn't been playing for months like Prince alludes to in Joy and Repetition. Surprisingly, Joy and Repetition is another song that dates from this era, the original versions. But holy Christ-a-roni, I cannot get over just how brilliant this song is. I mean, I know it's a long song and there's a lot of instruments, but First of all, it's funky. It sounds great. I mean, it's got the most repetitive hook you've ever heard in the Prince song. You know, so psychedelicide. It's a hell of a ride. So psychedelicide. You know, I mean, and it just goes from ice cream into soul psychedelicide. It's basically funk lemonade, to be a way to describe this. It's basically funk sex, having sex with funk. You know, and again, it's got that sort of sugary pop touch that you find. I mean, soul psychedelicide might be possibly up there with Dream Factory and Train as one of the very best songs Prince has ever written. It's just, wow. Why the hell was Prince holding this stuff back? Of course, you know why he's holding back, because this would challenge people in the chart world. But hardcore Prince fans, I mean, and I know people say, oh, I can't get into this album, there's just too much of it, it's too intimidating, I haven't even opened the album yet, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, seriously? Please open the shit and listen to it, because in the book, there's the notes talking about, you know, how the songs come about, you know. I mean, it's just crucial, you know, that you listen to this. I mean, again, here I am presaging myself. And then after Soul Psychodelicide, I mean, you need to come up for air after a song like that. We move into the ball, and this is sort of a very dancey thing. It's like, go, everybody, let's go to the ball. Come on. It's very funky little dancey number. It's definitely not as strong as the song that preceded it. It's catchy enough. And then actually hearing the music, you can hear the talking in the background, like, yo, my name's Andre Crabtree the Third. Yo, man, I need to get me some of them hamburgers. And you realize straight away, those of you with purple ears, that this song is clearly the bull. It's definitely a presage to what turned into I Know off Love Sexy. This has got the I Know sound. Prince is singing in the I Know beat. I mean, people say, oh, Prince went into the studio and made up Love Sexy, you know, on a whim in December 87, January. No, he didn't. He just basically pulled all the stuff from the vault out from middle of 1986, started mixing around with it and turning it into a bouncier, poppier, more upbeat album that would end up on one of Jay's lists about feel-good music, pretty much. So, again, the bull, you can dance to it too, basically. And what I love, again, I talk about how Prince is trying all these different types of music. Is as great as the bull is, like Soul Psychodelicide, it's totally Prince. The two songs sound absolutely nothing alike. That's just Prince for you. And now we move into Adonis and Bathsheba. And now this is a song, I listened to it several times. I just wanted to know what the hell he was singing about, because my knowledge of Greek myths and stuff is not good. But you know, Adonis and Bathsheba, in a bedroom full of garden full of flowers. Okay, he's singing something about them being stuck in a garden of flowers. Then it's a garden of love, so my guess is Adonis and Bathsheba are having a lot of sex, basically. It sounds like some sort of, you know, musical Garden of Eden thing. I mean, just the swingy, beautiful strings on it, you know, the over-sexified, you know, sex you down, you know, falsetto vocals, and it's just layers and layers of vocal cream. This song is so beautiful and so balletic. I wouldn't care if Prince was singing about taking a dookie. I would still love this song. This is beautiful. It's balletic, you know, it's perfect, you know, baby-making stuff. I mean, you listen to the song, it's like sex, but it's without all the crudity. It's not like Silk singing, let me lick you up and down or anything like that. This is beautiful. It's balletic. It's just classic Prince again. Again, it's one of probably the finest songs Prince ever made, and I'm so glad to hear it in this quality sound, because for some dumbass reason, I had like I think a lot of you guys had it too. There was only like about a 60 or 70 second really quiet sample of it on the bootlegs, and it starts off so well, and it finishes like in the middle of a phrase, and you're like, oh, where's the rest of this damn song? And here it is, Adonis and Bathsheba. I'm going to sit down and try and pull these lyrics out a bit more, but music that good, you know. I mean, those strings, you know, the horns and Prince's creamy falsetto. Who the hell really cares what it's about? It's a Prince song, he's singing it in falsetto, so it's almost certainly about you know what. Okay, great song, you know, again. And then we move into Forever in My Life. Now, I know you think, oh, that's already on Sign of the Times, but this is sort of like a work through, and you say nice loose guitar feel, great acoustic guitar playing, so it's like la 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 la, there comes a time in every man's life. And this has got a sort of more, you know, sort of revolution, sit down, play the guitar live feel than the sort of, I'm not going to knock it on Sign of the Times, the album, but it's not as cold and mechanical as it sounds on Sign of the Times. This has got much more warmth, and it's sort of like, you know, he's all sitting in the studio like with his guitar. It's a much more feel-good approach to it. I know it's becoming a cliche now as feel-good Prince songs, but this whole bloody album makes you feel good, you know what I mean? Tane's feel-good playlist, 1, Love Sexy, 2, Disc 2 of Sign of the Times outtakes. That's how it should be, basically. There's my list for you, Night Child. Yeah. Disc 3, pretty much all the happy tracks off Sign of the Times, like Play in the Sunshine and Housequake. And 4, I'll probably also put in the song Christopher Tracy's Parade and I Wonder You, New Precision, all those 3 songs. 1 non-stop drum loop of happiness, basically. And then Raspberry Beret, I mean, that's just got such a poppy, upbeat feel. Okay, so we've done Forever My Life. Then we move into Crucial. And this is the one song I'm not so crazy about. I actually like the version of Crucial on Crystal Ball a lot better. This is alright though. I still love the beat. I love the guitar. I love Prince's falsetto, which is very creamy. Again, I mean, I just love using that word cream, you know, but because this album is cream, I mean, this is just the stuff that floats to the top. I mean, this disc, oh my god, I mean, this is pretty much up there with songs like Electric Intercourse and The Door. I mean, this stuff is just mind-blowing. But still, Crucial's great. The lyrics are a bit different. Prince's singing is hard. It's actually a bit longer than the Crystal Ball version. And when I say Crystal Ball, I'm referring to the 1998 album with all the remixes of Come and Gold Experience tracks. But again, wow. And then we move into it. Prince takes us, and you think this album just cannot get any better. Prince takes us to a new level with the Cocoa Boys. Now, I know just a few videos ago I was talking about I want to know more about this project. And the Cocoa Boys, again, is one of his finest songs. It's got a really hard funk sound to it. And in the song, you realise that the narrator's name is Blondie. And you almost think that he is the Cocoa Boys. But the Cocoa Boys are the opposition. Prince is sort of singing in this really confrontational voice going, over the other side of town, there was a band. There was a saxophone player the size of a house. He was a bad motherfucker. He had a brother called George. And then there's a funny part where it changes from singing about the Cocoa Boys going, are we on first? It's really funky, great, you know, sort of, you know, like synth beat going for it, real sort of funky, you know, almost rap-like funk sound. You know, Prince is singing. There's a funny part in the song going, turn the house lights up, give me the mic so I can sing my shit. You know, and it just cracks me up every time I go, and Frankie had all the girls come too. And wow, the Cocoa Boys, you know, you are the new kings of the world. Just wow, great, great song again. One of the very best Prince has ever recorded. Why in God's name did Prince not do the Cocoa Boys? I mean, it's just all been amazing, basically. You know, we love this battle of the bands. Again, like I discussed in an earlier video, it's because by that stage of time we're in hiatus, so Prince could not bring the time out to play the Cocoa Boys. I mean, they weren't going to bring out Morris to play Frankie, basically. And that's also, you know, from the Black Album, the part where she goes, "Sew it up, Frankie," you know, comes from. So it's got that sort of rougher, tougher edge sound to it. And then we move into The Dawn of the Morning, which I think is also actually a Cocoa Boys outtake. And this is a wonderful poppy sing-song. Again, more sort of feminine sounding voices. You move away from the hard edge of the Cocoa Boys. And it's got a wonderful melody, wonderful chorus and hook that you just keep singing along. Go, till the dawn of the morning comes. Oh, yeah, and it's almost got like the sort of sing-song feel you've got off Love, Sexy and Graffiti Bridge. I mean, lots of, you know, beautiful instrumentation, great percussion going through. I think Sheila's doing like, you know, she's got the cowbells and she's got the drums and like the dong, 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 dong noises running through it. Holy hell, what a song. I'm really trying not to swear here. And then we get to another song. You just think this thing cannot get better. Now, Witness for the Prosecution appeared back on disc 1, but this version here, it's got a sort of more, you know, sort of like synthesized feel going, witness for the prosecution, dun, 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 dun. I am guilty. You know, it's not so bluesy and poppy like it is on the first version. This version is sort of more mechanical and synthy, and it definitely has a more sort of harder, darker funk edge to it. It's still a fantastic song and definitely belongs here. And then finally, after all this great, great music, the last song, It's Be Like That Sometimes going. I mean, this one, I mean, I'm just trying so hard to remember the song, but it's not bad. I mean, it's a decent, you know, pop song, but it just does not rise above the rest of the cream on this album. I mean, sort of like Crucial and, you know, there's just a couple of songs that are more great rather than excellent. This is definitely one of the great songs. I mean, It's a Be Like That Sometimes is basically another hard luck love story. You know, it's not bad, but I mean, after all that music, you just need to come up for it. But basically, that's disc 2. It's easily one of the finest discs of music Prince has ever released. I mean, if you really are that intimidated by this album and don't want to listen to the whole thing, if you just want to listen to one disc on this whole album, you know, the whole, you know, album itself, you know, all the outtakes, the concerts, the DVDs, listen to this disc. This is disc 5 of the 8-disc set, basically. I don't know. I haven't seen the record package, so I can't say what records it is, but it's in the middle. I mean, it's just, these songs are just sustained brilliance. I mean, 10 out of 10 easily. Now, the next disc I'll talk about, disc 3, I just have to warn you now, I mean, it's not quite as good, but there are still some really, really great songs on this one. I think the big thing about disc 3 too is I think a lot of the material in it is actually much darker. You know, especially there's a couple of songs in there where basically he's threatening to beat her up and chop her lips off and all this other shit. And I mean, you come near me and my lips, man, it's going to be on, basically. So there you are. Disc 2, listen to it and love it. Alright, peace and be wild.